In childhood, Susan was sickly. A blood platelet deficiency, I overheard, but didn't understand. We were separated, but I defied orders even then. Proper diets and strict bedtimes were imposed. After lights were out, I made my way to her. I would crawl into her bed so we could laugh and play. Little sisters intimately loving each other in the purest way. Even as a child, she worried I might get in trouble. I ignored everything but the moment. Susie was allowed 30 minutes a day to be outside. She couldn't run around and play. It was controlled because it would be drastic if she got overheated or hurt. The private school we attended made special provision for her illness. I was sent away during school breaks and holidays to Father's sister in Maine. In my youth, I didn't connect the dots of Father's neurosis with cleanliness to his professional loan, but also to Susan's blood disorder. I later believed he gave up on life, and that's why he became a philanderer. I tried not to reason why anything was as it were. Amnesia would have helped to ignore the nag for an answer, but every good effort can't escape the mind's consent to search. I only pursued a real answer after Susan took her life. Her health improved by puberty. When the green light was given to let her live more of a normal life, I capitalized. Our house was enormous, but I moved her into my bedroom. I refused our parents' insistence not to share the bedroom, bathrooms, and germs. We would lie for hours every night, talking, munching on potato chips, and sneaking sugar-filled drinks. Just like Dad, Susan had two sides. Not because she wanted to, but it was exemplified. By high school, she was depressed most of the time at home. Sad she missed out on a classic childhood and the lack of greater meaning in our family of four. She yearned for something life wouldn't yield. No amount of money could provide for a contented life she thought we should have. At school, she was perky and all smiles. In the dark of our bedroom, depression fell on her. I gave her no pass to glum and yanked her from her sadness. Making her laugh did it mostly. She hated when I snuck out at night. "Why do you say such mean things about people?" she asked through stifled laughter. "Because, sweet Susie do. It makes you free." "What do you mean by that?" She'd roll to her side and find me in the darkness. "Trashing anyone takes away what you hate about yourself." "Only for a moment." "It works." "I'm depressed again." "Stop thinking about tomorrow. It'll be here soon enough." "Do I wear you down?" "Never," I lied. "Don't you want a better life?" "What's wrong with the one I have?" "It's shallow." I agreed and sighed. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that." "Why do you bother to apologize? Own it, Susie. You're shallow. I'm the rotten fruit, not far from the diseased tree." "Why do you say that about Dad?" "I include Mom, too." "You are broken," her sweet voice said. "Are you taking psychology this semester?" "Yes, but I've always felt you were." "The deeper things are left for you." "You don't want anything deeper?" "Everyone does." "I want to feel the warm sun on my face, and a man to love me, to pay attention to me." "That's not deep. Every girl wants that." "I want to start a home for those of distant lands living in an atmosphere of tyrannical control. I want to save them from oppression. I will house and feed them, but build a business so they can work and enjoy the rewards of freedom." "That's deep, Susan," I whispered to her outline in the dark. "And you can design and build the home." "You're a real saint." "Let's not trash people anymore. Let's do something good," she eagerly said. "We'd only be seen as rich do-gooders. Nobody cares, Susie." "You're shallow," she'd say with apology. Susan knew nothing about my real lifestyle. It would have only crushed her. She wanted Romeo on a white horse and an organdy gown on her, upswept in the wind. I didn't care. I saw how my father really was and knew they were all the same. We were both popular throughout high school. She loved it. I didn't. I was aloof by nature, not shy or reserved. It added to the mystery and inadvertently bolstered appeal. It was enormously important to Susie, and she graphed her value on the long line of adoring cronies. She was a devout student to the pompous principles Dad demanded. Her sickly state made people treat her with kid gloves. I hated when people did it. She needed to be treated normal because she was. Susie was popular for her beauty, sweetness, and parents who were filthy rich with old world money. And the cherry on top was a father who was a vascular surgeon. I watched the garbage men collect our trash every week and knew they deserved just as much respect. I left cold sodas on the lid of the garbage can for them every week. I left cold beer for them in my teens. I had no steady boyfriend, ever. I hung out with guys my age just to pass the time. I was always older in my head, so I slept with mature men. Daddy deficiency. I learned fast the size of anything they had was of most importance to them. But a woman could never convince them otherwise. They believe a lie. Their entire worth is measured by the wad in their wallet and the one behind their zipper. They believe it because it comes from other men. The importance of it, that is. The only man I fell for was a summer stint. Gavin got it the way the world's supposed to be. He had an average-sized dick and no money. His company was pure erotic contentment. Gavin was older, by how much we never wondered. He only got angry at important things. Most of our time was talk and real sex. What I thought was an orgasm before him was not. He showed my body what one was. There was no thought of where we'd been or where we were going. The present was all that mattered. When he looked at me, I knew he meant it, like the way I feel when I'm with my toeless client. Susie was always about the grander picture, which no one cared. Not me, for sure. I went with what was in front of me. She contemplated everyone and how everything would affect them. I gave a flick, except for her. I never wanted to hurt her, so I never divulged the truth of my snatch and grab life. She was my moral compass. She taught me what I should care about. My baby sister taught me. I still lived as I wanted, but without her, I'm aware of the darker path of deprivation I would have followed. The one thing we had in common, other than parents, was our lack of condemnation. The rich will never be condemned by anyone's standards. The world is their gritty ocean. All others they condemn, but Susan and I refused. Travels and voices of different lands gave us a tilted view of the world. These trips were the only time Susie and I were free to run and play. We made friends with children from every bend on the planet. We saw no difference and gave everyone everywhere our time. We never condemned a soul. The family summer trip, I initially declined to be with Gavin, found Susan in love. A wealthy aristocrat's son who she plummeted for. She had just graduated high school, and I was headed into my junior year at MIT. I didn't want to travel with my parents, but it was the proper celebration for her graduation. The only reason I returned home when I did or went anywhere with my family was for Susie. Her first love was the only thing I ever opposed. My sister was an innocent at heart and had never felt the hands of any lover. His, of course, were skilled. His devouring eyes told. My own ignorance, not innocence, led me to believe my chaste sister deserved a virgin. He was not. The posture of a person tells all. A sullied look when too many sexual encounters have occurred, like my own. Those who take with no regard crave the purity of life, believing they can retrieve their own. They want their removed virtues and prey on the innocent. Like silent radar, they zero in and plunder. That must be why my thoughts entertain the Foot client, someone to navigate a correct consciousness in me, like Susan did. Dad and Mom stayed for a week, then returned home, leaving Susie and I to party the white sand beaches alone. Renee was oh so debonair and desired to beguile my sister's sanctity. I never begged one person, but I did her, not to give it up for him. It was the first battle we had. It was the first time I wished my parents would have stayed. Please, Susan, don't do this. I didn't have to tell you. Why do you care anyway? It's not because I'll beat you to sex. That's why I don't want you to. You regret the decision to throw all you'd saved away? Would you empty your trust account and give it all to Renee? Money means nothing to me, so yes, I would. You can say it means nothing, but you've never been without it. You gave it away. I wasn't saving it or the fucking money for anyone. Everything with you comes at a cost. You dump everything for whatever you want and consider nothing else. You haven't even done it, and already you're bitter. Like you, having sex did not cause my embittered state. I was born this way. It takes me wanting sex for you to admit a flaw. God, why do you need to hear confessions? You don't care about anything, she screamed at me. Why are you making me prove it? This isn't about me having sex. It's about you. It's always about you. You've been a sick example. You think I don't know what you do? Everyone knows you're a slut. I had to hear it all through high school. Your name on every bathroom stall for a good time. Successful at sex was the motto for you. You're a hypocrite. Renee's been with too many women. He's not safe for you. You can't expose yourself to some slimy ass who most likely has a disease. You have no say in what I do. She met him on the far side of the island, away from prying eyes. I tried desperately to locate Dad by phone, but he couldn't be reached. I knew she'd hate me for telling him, but if he had had the opportunity to say anything to her, she would have listened to him.